Hey, Pepin.
Yo.
You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about school.
School?
Yeah, you remember how I went to school once?
Yeah, and I went to school once, and then I stopped, and then I went again, and now I'm in school again, and yeah.
And then you wrote that song about not wanting to go to school because the Naked Brothers band did, and you covered it.
I don't want to go to school. Yes, it's true. I don't want to see those teachers' face again. I don't want to go.
Hey, Nate, we need to talk.
It's a real song.
Are you familiar?
I saw.
Yeah, you're Zoomers.
I saw the guys from the Naked. They've been in various roles. One of them was in Jumanji.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the kids in the high
Is
school
that the
part.
new one?
Yeah, he was in the new
never saw it.
Jumanji.
Okay.
And the other one played a terrorist in the Boston bombings one. The Mark Wahlberg
Listen,
movie.
where
I'm just
they
glad
are
they're
now.
I'm getting there. I'm glad they're
Yeah,
getting work. They're
Alex,
getting their
Alex
sex on.
Wolf played Joe Carter's in Patriots Day.
I don't know what any of those words meant.
He was like the actual Boston bomber.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
The Naked Brothers band lead singer played the Boston bomber.
Wow,
In
what a good role.
the Mark Wahlberg Boston bombing movie.
Because I felt like my ears were being Boston bombed every time I played.
Okay,
that's my good Boston bomber joke.
without its head.
Okay. Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I am here once again with my best friend Nathan. Pepin, how's it going today, Pepin?
Yo, Meter, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. And we are joined once again by the boys from the Plunge, Riley and Hunter. How are you guys?
Yo.
I don't think that we are ever leaving.
That's great. I love to hear
We're
it.
resident sleepers here now.
Well, you guys can't leave. The doors are locked.
You didn't know when you were shutting them that they locked behind them.
It's true. It's
From
like the
the
valves
outside.
of the penis.
It's like have you guys seen Uncut Gems?
No, not yet. I've seen that they're pushing that shit real hard.
They are, which kind of sucks because I went in with the expectations that it was like 10 out of 10 movie. And you can never go into a movie with those expectations.
Yeah, that's high expectations.
Like you'll
That's why
never
sequels fail.
Big facts.
You'll never be so like I was disappointed. It was a good movie. It was like an 8 out of 10, like pretty solid movie. But I went in thinking it was a 10. But there's one scene where he like locks people in this room, like between doors, and it reminded me of that where we're just locked in here now.
Well, it'll be okay because Adam Sandler will save us at the end of the episode.
That's true.
So I wanted to talk today about higher education. I know I've gone to college. Hunter's currently in college.
Yeah, I'm in a grad program right now.
A grad program. So you're done college. Now you're on extra college.
Yeah,
College too.
bonus round. Taking my 4-year victory lap.
Dude, that's hardcore as fuck.
It sucks.
So what was your initial major?
So it changed a couple times. I went in as pre-pharmacy, which would have just been 2 years, and then I go right into a PharmD program. I decided halfway through my freshman year I was going to switch to pre-med, and then at the end of my second year I was like, wait, that means that's 8 more years of school instead of an additional 4, so I'm going to switch back to pharmacy. And I completed all the stuff I needed to in a total of 3 years, so just an extra year of college, but...
See, that's where medical stuff gets really crazy because it's like, what's your major? Oh, this is the major I'm taking to get into the
other major.
The other major.
Yeah.
Like lawyers, they go with like 4-year, get like maybe a BA in like, philosophy or
and
general education, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they go into law school.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's a scam, I think.
Tell me more.
What are you doing right now? What did
I graduated.
Cool. How was
Yeah.
it?
It was good.
That's
I
good.
went to a state school, so I don't have loans or anything.
I do go to private school.
Yeah.
But
We got a fancy lad.
I was an RA, so I don't have many. I don't think I have any outstanding loans from undergrad, which is cool. But I'm gonna be like almost $200K in the hole after 4 years. So
Ooh, that sounds nice.
shout out.
Fair.
Riley, what did you study?
I studied finance pretty much. I think I graduated with a management degree, but I graduated early, so I had to change. Pretty much I was on track to get a finance degree, but then to graduate early, I could switch it to this management one, and so I was down a semester early.
Is there really a difference there?
No, there's none. I still learned all the same things. It's just there's different requirements.
He didn't take an extra Pilates class to fill up his extra credits.
No, I did take an extra Pilates class to fill up my extra
I know, that was the joke.
Yeah. But yeah, So I went for 3.5 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then, Meter, when you went to school, it was for business?
Yeah, I went for a double major in management and finance.
Hey.
And I went for 5 years and didn't graduate.
You didn't graduate?
No, I'm like 2 classes away. I failed my marketing class because I was working and other stuff, of course. And then I didn't do my capstone. So other than those 2 things, I would
that's
have
the
a double.
big Larry.
I would have 2 degrees.
Host Dave just finished his capstone. I think he had to write like a 40-page paper in 2.5 months.
Yeah, it was a month.
Oh, a month, and it wasn't like a group project. It was like his culmination of his education.
Yeah,
so
capstones are wild.
Yeah, ours was like double space and stuff. We had to do a report. I think there was 3 of us. And if we put it out, or it was single space, if we put it out to like double space, like most stuff is submitted, it was like 178 pages.
Oh my God.
I don't have to submit like a capstone or a dissertation because
You
like
just have to not kill people.
Yeah, you're a fake doctor.
technically I will graduate with a doctorate, but I'm gonna be a doctor in the same way that a 6th man gets a ring. Like, yeah, you got a ring, but like,
You were there, man.
Yeah.
You contributed to
Yeah,
the
like
team.
Paul goes here.
You have a PhD, but the PH stands for pharmacy.
It's not a PhD, it's a PharmD.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
actually spelled out. But
So one thing in school that I experienced is...
Wait, you gotta explain what your experience was.
Okay. Well, first, I went to school originally for computer engineering.
That's what you were doing, wasn't it?
Well, no. I was going to go to something else.
Oh, okay.
That was back in 2009. My family got affected by the housing crisis, and so I didn't continue with school because their finances went to shit.
Yep.
And so, and also I got stuck with all the debt because that's how the family worked. So eventually paid it all off. Now I'm going back to school for computer science.
Nice.
Nice.
Started that relatively recent. And so where I was trying to go with that is when I've been in school, like writing papers, like 40-page paper for the capstone. Like to some people that sounds like insurmountable. To me, that sounds easy. The problem I have is writing less. Like I can write like for days. Like I can just
For me,
speed
it's
up.
just writing. I hate writing.
the
I'm
process.
good at writing. I hate it though. Like I would rather give a 3-hour presentation than write a 2-page paper.
I see.
Like-
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's why the business degree was good for me because there was pretty minimal writing. It was a whole lot of presentations over writing and stuff. So
For me, it's not really writing papers. It's
you're a lot of learn. You got to like memorize, right?
My favorite part, like the big difference for me from undergrad to a graduate program is it's not like show me how you got the answer. It's if you have the answer, good. Like I don't give a fuck how you got the answer. If you have the correct answer, that's all that matters. And they don't like quiz you on the step by step that a lot of like generalized classes do, like a general chemistry or general physics. So
Right, because from what I understand, and like when you get into the upper disciplines of, say, like masters or PhD programs, they're more trying to test if you are actually like able to stay competent, you know, and it's not, you know, like the level of competency is more about like individual basis.
yes.
Whereas, like, say, with a general classroom for like physics, like you have these general tests that are meant to just weed out or kind of have a general
Yeah.
acumen.
Yes.
And it'd be nice if they could grade you like on your individual kind of like, say, ability, but they can't do that. So
The structure, I feel like the structure of those general classes could be better, but there's also not a great way to get around trying to develop that like teamwork aspect, so you're getting graded as a whole instead of part. That actually leads me to like my point. I think school is a fucking scam.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that because for me, I got an internship in high school where I currently work. My job knew I was a good worker. They knew I knew what my task was at the time. I still had to have a degree to be a full-time salaried employee. I had to go to school. I knew I was working here. I knew they were going to hire me for 4 years. I had to go to school to get the degree just to be on the team, despite them knowing, like, yeah, we know what they're getting here. I could have been working full-time 4 years ago and not gotten in the degree, but I had to go get the degree just for that.
Why did you need the degree?
I think it's just part of society now where a lot of, if you want those like jobs, they almost need a degree for some of them. It's becoming part of the like necessities. It's almost needed now in order to get to a certain point, even if you don't need it.
part of the issue is in certain disciplines.
Yeah.
So like HR is the one who's doing the hiring, or everything is determined by HR.
Yep.
And HR doesn't have expertise in that field. So let's say it's like a engineering sort of thing,
That
right?
is exactly that right now.
Right. So HR can't determine whether you're a good engineer or not. Of course, they can have you like meet with the engineers there and stuff, and maybe they think you're a great candidate even without a degree. But if you don't have a degree, HR doesn't know who they're hiring, so they use that just to say
It's a baseline.
You're just a name on a paper.
they use it to fill in their ignorance, right?
Yeah.
As a placeholder for their ignorance, because that's their way to judge you.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a degree in this. This means you're at least an acceptable candidate for us.
And I mean, that's fine if you're just doing somebody off the street, but it sounds like in this case, they already knew they wanted to hire you.
Yeah.
So it was a formality, and that's when it doesn't make sense. When it's a
Exactly.
formality. Did they pay for it?
No,
That's
because
fucked,
I wasn't part of the company. at that point. I was
Then my issue's with the company then.
But I think I know a lot of people in this type of situation though, where you can't get to this certain point because you need the degree just to get there.
The way that I see it is it's less of like you actually learning the nitty gritty skills of each individual
On the
position
job,
you
yeah,
might hold.
on the job stuff.
But it's more of an investment, and employers want to see that you're willing to make an investment for you to go to college. Like even if you don't finish, like putting yourself in that position where you are investing in yourself for a higher education, I think is important to a lot of employers. And I don't think it necessarily makes sense, but I can see why, logically speaking, they would want that, but I don't agree with it because I've worked in a pharmacy for almost 6 full years now. I've learned more working in the pharmacy than I have in any class in my undergrad, any class that I've taken so far in pharmacy school. But I don't know. I wish that we could just go back to like the days of trades where you become an apprentice, you just keep doing the thing over and over again. Your mentor gets too old, you take over, and then things keep going in that cycle.
So one argument against that, at least as far as pharmacy goes, is let's say you have regulations that say mandate that this person must be a qualified and trained person, right? And let's say that the qualification to decide upon is say I'm not sure what it'd be. You said it like a PharmD or
PharmD. So it's
PharmD.
like PhD just.
Okay, so let's say the PharmD is just the measurement they use to say, we can certify this person is
Like-
competent enough to give drugs out. And
Like they've done X level of training and they're ready to move into the workforce, as opposed to being gauged by someone who's already.
Well, I mean, that's what it is, right? If you pass the class, you're being gauged by somebody who's already an expert, and they're saying, I agree, he's ready to go to the next spot.
Yeah, but at the institution where you pay them like ridiculous amounts of money, like I feel like it could be bypassed or lessened to some degree, and
I mean,
that's
look
in
at,
all
like,
capacities of
You could use
work.
that with any example. Most kids nowadays, I'm not studying because Quizlet has every answer to this test, or like the people out there think athletes, like they're not really doing their work. So what good is the degree if certain people are able to get it at certain levels? Like where's the value lie?
Yeah.
See, I could see like a model where it's sort of like an internship, but it's an internship, belied with, say, education, right? So let's say you want to become this thing. So you sign up with, say, this pharmacy position, and you're kind of like a pharmacy intern, but you can't really do anything, and you take classes and everything. And maybe you interact on a daily basis, but it's kind of like you're job shadowing and doing the job, but you're also learning the education on the sideline. And then their goal is to get you up to that point where you become the pharmacy, tech.
Exactly. And at least the position that I'm in right now, I can't really think of a better analogy, but it's kind of like separation of church and state. Like you do a lot of clinical learning in the classroom and then technical skills when you're at the job. I feel like if we weren't sitting in those classes and you were with expert teachers who are going through and walking you through with all the tactile things for you to experience firsthand, that would be a much better system. But I get it's not a perfect world and there are going to be mistakes, so they're kind of safeguarding that. But
How do you feel about gen eds? So most schools now require, it's like a year and a half of gen ed classes.
I think the whole gen ed thing is very stupid.
I think it's
I
bullshit.
agree.
I'm going to learn So for me, I went for finance. Why do I need to be learning about 1800s Middle Eastern conflict? Or
Well, that honestly right now would be pretty useful.
yeah, all right, that was a bad example.
Just to be clear.
That was a bad example. But why do I need to be learning about things that have no, like I had to take 2 art classes.
Art's super important.
So you're a well-rounded student, and they can get more monies from you.
Yeah, it comes into like I feel like they should be able to tie those things in. If they need to teach you a bunch of different things, they should be able to tie it into at least your degree.
Can't you use your degree credits to give you gen ed credit?
Some of them, but most of them, you know, like you're not going to find many science classes that count as
Business
history
classes.
or art class or whatever. There's
So
a bunch
your
of
issue isn't you guys didn't just have like general gen ed, like you can take anything you want as long as it's not within your major, or
No, we
no
had to
matter
fill-
what it is.
So
It was
for-
like special credits where you were required to
Yeah.
take things outside your major that would never have and
Yeah,
never
I know.
will
I
pertain
had to take like
it.
astronomy and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it was like art, science, like gym.
A lot of mine were covered. I was in the honors college, so a lot of mine were covered under that.
weird
stupid
flex.
thing.
Like why do I have to? Let's
I
see.
felt like an asshole having to say it. Okay.
Why do I need to take calculus if I'm just going to be counting by 5? Is
right.
what like some of the things.
And you're a
just-
doctor.
in the pharmacy. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 Viagra. Here you go.
At least you've accepted where you know it's going.
Hey man, I don't know. I just think that
Captain Boner Pillow over here.
college is it's business. It's a business.
It is a
now.
business.
It's not,
That's for sure.
but it's not what it should be. Like it's not really about the education at this point because it's so focused around what college can cost the most and give you the best experience is the way that it's phrased.
Yeah,
now,
like
not the
I
education.
ran the admissions department on the student side for 3 years at Plymouth, and like it's a marketing tactic. Everything you do is a marketing tactic. You show them the coolest buildings. You set up. You give them on those days like for the big days. We had the best food for like the open houses. It was cool. It was always funny when rumors went around. You would hear the like stupid shit. They're like, "Oh man, here comes a tour." They set up the good food just for the tour kids. And I looked at those kids. I was like, we have 2 tours every single day, 5 days a week. They're like, what? No. And I was
They're like, yo, homeboy, I run this.
yeah. They're like, yeah, they set up the good food for when those kids. I was like, no, the normal tour people just eat our food. But it's like, it's a big marketing thing. Everything is plotted out because you're trying to get people at your school so you can have more people come. Like our goal was just to raise our enrollment. So we could build new things, which would then bring more people in, and it's just a big plot.
So I think there's a couple aspects to why this happened this way. Because initially, college was just for like the rich, right? Now, back in the day. So
The rich or the gifted.
yeah, the rich or the gifted, and colleges weren't that big. Like they're pretty small, and so the idea they had is, you have your discipline, but the main thing they wanted to imbue onto their students was to become a general good person, right?
Yeah.
Someone who's versed in the classics, versed in, say, just general stuff. And that, number one, doesn't scale very well to now because, culture has gotten a lot different and the
I think
requirements.
Topics have also expanded and kind of melded together, so there's no defining lines separating a lot of different
I mean, like you go
educational
to most
focuses.
schools, there's like 200 degrees.
Yeah.
That's hot.
I think another aspect to it as well, and this is my hypothesis, so it might be right, wrong or right, but I think there's a lot of, say, majors or a lot of like topics that really don't matter too much, but
Gender studies?
yeah, gender studies.
I'm a
might-
major in Shakespearean literature.
Yeah,
From specifically the year 1608.
like it's not that the shit doesn't matter, right? Because it's like it's interesting,
Like,
right?
it's
Bitch, you're
always gonna-
English. Like,
But these departments are, if they don't have people coming into them, they're gonna get shut down. So they force the university's hand to get people pumping into them. So it's kind of like that growing bureaucracy of people who don't want to get fired from their jobs, who kind of get people to get into their courses just by making more general elective requirements. Yeah. Now, of course, the college profits from this as well because they get more people in, they get more money. But I think probably part of the driving factor are these sub-disciplines that kind of expanded out, maybe too fast. Mm-hmm. And these people who have jobs who now are going to get fired if people don't take their classes.
I don't have an issue with any of that.
I feel like it diminishes the the integrity of getting a degree, because there's still plenty of jobs like trades. We need trades. We always will. And
I think that's been a big problem, is because for the last 20-something years, schools have almost looked at trades as if you're a dumbass, you're going to go into trades now. They've almost identified as if you're successful, you go to college. And if school's not for you, like they pretty much are saying, like, the idiots, you guys go to trade school. And that's just been the wrong way to do things, because now all those people who went to trade school, they're going to be making six figures by the time they're 25.
They essentially have the equivalence of college before it got so saturated with the amount of people, because they're going and they're in high demand because not a lot of people are going to trade schools.
Yep.
So, like, it almost stems back to the high schools now, because the high schools need to, like, it's on them to start making people realize, like, trade school is a viable and very good tool.
Meter, you said you didn't agree with something. Can you expand upon that?
Oh, I don't have an issue with the colleges making money. I don't see why that's an issue.
I don't either. It's just, I think the culture surrounding it is the issue, because it kind of perpetuates like the idea that Riley was saying, that like the successful people go to college when you can have a ridiculous amount of success in
You
a
guys
trade.
talked for a long time about money, and now you're saying it's not about money, it's about the culture. So I'm just trying to make sure I understand where you're coming from.
It's almost like two sides of the same
I think
coin.
I think they make it too much about the money when it should be about institutional, like, learning. It should be for growth.
So, but
it's a war out there now, though.
So you're saying that they take in money and they use that money to expand the school, to try and get more people to come in, to get more money to expand the school. I guess the important thing to me is which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is the end outcome to gain more money, or to make a bigger school to educate more people? Because one of those I'm okay with, and one of those is selfish.
Yes.
And that's the biggest distinction for me is, are these schools where we have evidence that people are making absurd amounts of money, or is it actually going back into the school and therefore expanding the school?
I think that's...
We're too different, because I'm public, so it has to go back into the school, or else they lose it.
I am not.
Or he's not. So
Where our school has been stagnant since about 1988. And I'm not just pulling that number out of my ass. I used to work for housing. I was an RA for 2 years, so I sat through all these meetings where they educated us on like the history of the school, so that if we ever got seen on tours, they'd be like, say this to make us look good.
If you were making up a number there, I would have taken it exactly the same, I promise.
So the way that they say it is UNE has only expanded one freshman dorm and one upperclassman dorm in the past 25 years. And that is only an occupancy of about 1,300 students.
Has the attendance raised?
No.
Okay, so they're making what they're making. They're not spending any more money.
Well, every year they raise tuition by like $1 or $2 grand.
And that all goes to whoever privately owns that facility.
Exactly, and the faculty.
And I don't have a problem with that, because people are like electing to pay money to do that.
Exactly.
Now, when the government's involved, that's when I care about like what's the goal.
Exactly.
But when it's private, like, you're paying, like, I know I'm paying somebody else to go.
I mean,
And
look at
do
SNU. It's one of the biggest schools in the country now. They have like 2,000 people who go there on campus, but their campus is as if 45,000 people go there, because they have that much money and they just have to put their money somewhere. So they've bought the biggest arena in Manchester. They've overtook an entire side of town. Like, they're bringing in such an unholy amount of money.
I feel like they're doing it correctly, though. Like, they're creating an environment for the students while also making the money for themselves, because they offer that huge catalog of online classes, and they have the opportunity for kids who do want to go away for college to go and stay at like a really nice campus for I don't know, it's what
pretty
the
expensive.
Is it now?
Yeah.
I would say my issue is, so it's not with people making money. I agree with Meter on that.
Yeah.
Like, and if people want to pay the money to go to college,
Yeah, it is a two-way street. Like, they are paying this money. Like,
Yeah,
that
and
is
again,
a choice they're making.
That goes back to the investing in yourself. If you want to invest in yourself, that's totally on you.
But it also goes back to the standards that in society now you almost have to have this piece of paper to get to a certain entry point.
Right, and that's my issue. My issue is more with the propaganda, particularly the government propaganda, because I think the schools, they want more people coming in, right? And at government public schools, and maybe it's just my experience there, Meter can probably attest to this, went to the same school, they push college like the time you got in high school, right? They push college.
Since freshman year, I remember Tech outing all the time.
The whole thing
college
was-
ready, college ready.
Yeah.
They're the whole point of high school turned into getting you ready for college.
And I think high schools in general and the school system is pushing people into college who shouldn't be going to college, number one, because they fail. Failure rates are somewhat high for colleges.
Yeah.
And I think the colleges benefit from that because they get people in. It doesn't matter if they graduate or not.
And then they have the people who are pushed to go to college that maybe either one, don't want to go to college, two, aren't ready, two, they don't have, the aptitude for a higher learning.
Yeah.
Like,
or maybe they don't even need to go to college
Or
for
like
what they want to do.
for me, like I think our retention rate for year one was like 50%. Like I went to a party school, and most people just partied out.
Yeah.
And so by the time you get to your later class, those people are all very smart and like good people. But they took out a lot of the people early on. But then you have like a year of their money.
Right. And that money you can't default on.
No.
So I think the government and the college systems are kind of colluding, quite gracefully.
yeah.
And I think the issue I have is more that people push people, like non-adults, people who are below the age of 18, into going to college, and, saying, I need to go to college because otherwise I'm going to be a failure in all these different ways. And it kind of props up the system. I think my issue is mostly the propaganda. It's not the mechanisms that underlie it, but pushing people.
I think it's actually kind of funny that me and Riley had almost an exact opposite high school because attached to or affiliated with, I don't remember what MST was.
Yeah, it was just
But-
you have a tech school. I know a lot of the places around, typically they have like there's one school that a bunch of schools go to for like
Yeah,
trades.
We had that with me and Steve went to Noble, and so they had Sanford, and so we would go to Sanford, and they had their whole tech stuff in there. When I went there for some IT stuff.
Yeah, okay. So we had that, but luckily all of
was
Manchester went to this one. Luckily it was just across the
Right
street
next
from
to
our high
it.
school.
So it wasn't like a huge thing if it was, I have classes over at the over at MST.
Yeah, because that's where they send everyone who wanted to take like culinary classes, film classes,
Woodworking
IT,
classes.
woodworking, like trade stuff.
Yeah.
Which it was good, and like there was never anything wrong with the kids who went over there. It was always just, oh no, I just have a class over there, and they offered things like getting your apprenticeship for woodworking or electricianship over there, and you would do that for a couple years, like your junior and senior year. By the time you graduate, they're preparing you for a better spot to either go to the next level of trade school or to move right into the workforce.
Right.
So it's interesting to see. I guess
I think we were kind of an inner city school though too.
That's
so it
also
almost
true.
we had a lot of the options, like the post grad options, like the different military branches were in there probably once a week in our CAF during all
That's
lunches
also true.
and trade schools and stuff. So I feel like we're a rare case though where we kind of had all the options presented to us.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I never even considered that there would be schools that would be like pushing from day one of high school.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, like in middle school, they pushed it not as much, but high school, day one, it was all about college.
Yeah, because if you don't do something right in high school, the comment you got back was, this wouldn't be accepted in college.
Yeah,
like it
exactly.
would be that type.
And
of
then
comment.
you show up to college and your professor's like, "Yo, I'm just gonna drink this whole bottle of NyQuil and see what happens. If I start tripping out, I'm sending all of you home." It's like, all right.
What I was amazed was in college is like we're at a lecture, and then one of the teachers like, you guys don't really seem interested over there. You don't have to show up to the class. You can just like not show up. I don't care.
I had my freshman year, so I took honors chemistry my junior year in high school, and then I took AP chemistry my senior
Look
year.
who's flexing now.
Yeah, I know.
I got a 5 on the AP. That's the flex. I got a 5 on the AP exam. So
Out of
technically,
100, that's not very good.
so I technically didn't have to take Gen Chem 1, but my advisor recommended that I do in case I applied to other schools because other schools might not accept that credit, and she didn't want me to get held up. I was fine with that. I used to show up to class, get like 98s, 99s on the exams, and my professor, after like the third exam, handed me my exam. He goes, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "Why are you in this class?" I was like, because I have to take chemistry. He's like, there's no way you haven't taken chemistry before, because I was getting like the bonus questions right that were really hard. He's like, you don't have to come to class. Just show up for the exams if you know what you're doing, and you can stop by my office if you need something. Like, I'm not gonna waste your time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of respect.
And that was the only time it ever happened. He was a bro. I'm gonna marry that man someday.
Oh, geez.
We're polygamous. It's good.
Oh, okay.
We're creating a harem. Would you two like to join it?
Wait, what's that mean?
I'll actually
A
consider.
flock of people
Married.
that fuck each other.
Oh, okay.
Well, so it's like a walrus has like all its females.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that.
It's me. I invited them.
You're the walrus.
I'm the
Is
walrus.
that a Beatles song or something?
It is.
Are you implying that walruses are fucking things other than walruses, or shouldn't we all be walruses?
Isn't that song about?
Well, he's the male walrus.
Never mind. I thought the walrus was about LSD, but that's Lucy in the Sky with
They're
Diamonds.
all about LSD.
Okay,
It's
you're
the
right. You're
Beatles.
right.
Oh boy! Wow, this was a great conversation.
That was a great conversation. We don't have those on the Plunge very often.
Are we done with the conversation?
I don't know.
What else? What else you got?
So I want to go into some of the benefits of college maybe, and maybe talk about what we've actually learned. And as usual, I'm going to Mickles for all it's worth, so let's get a second episode of this next time on We Need to Talk.